Hi, my name is Jen Potter, and I am the host of Networking Now, where we are a networking show that talks about the ins and outs of networking and why it is so important and imperative to our business. Today, I am joined by Jeff Wood. He's someone who I've known for a long time. And he is a CFO. He is the owner and founder of Safe Harbor CFO Services. I think I got that right?
Right.
So thank you so much for joining. I had to think about it. Thank you so much for joining us. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and all the things.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Uh, name's Jeff Wood. So I started my CFO voyage, I guess, back in working for hedge funds back in the mortgage crisis in 2008, 2009. That went well. We did well with that company. Learned as much as I could. The gentleman retired who ran that, and I eventually ended up doing the same thing for a separate hedge fund with launching ETFs and a few other things, crypto funds and things like that. Really enjoyed it. But really found a passion for helping some of my friends who had small businesses with some of their financial questions and working through some of their problems and helping them solve them. So when the opportunity came for me to launch a business that could do the same thing for other small businesses, I jumped at it. Something we're super passionate about over here and really do enjoy digging through the numbers and working with people as they grow their business.
I love that. I That's one of the things that we have in common. Like I love numbers, right? I was a financial analyst, so like whenever I hear things about numbers, I'm like, I love numbers.
Yeah.
And you know, this isn't the only business that you own, though. So, I mean, I know you have the Safe Harbor umbrella, I'm going to call it, because you have multiple businesses that you started prior to this. So, what are some other businesses that you do, and within that team?
Yeah, sure. So when COVID hit and kind of that market took a dive there, my wife and I got together and we talked about kind of hedging our salaries, right? Because my working in the hedge fund industry, my salary, our savings, our investments were all tied into the market, and so the idea was if the market's going to continue to hit the skids, we're going to have to come up with some new revenue streams. So the first thing that we did was we purchased a self storage facility with a group of friends of ours. We moved from that to purchasing a second self storage facility that was larger with investors. At that point, it made sense to launch a self storage facility property management company. Um, and then we bought a shed and steel building business almost on accident. Um, that's gone really well. And then from there, it just made sense as I was part of the small business community and had at that point spoken to so many other small business owners to launch some vehicle that could really help them with their financial services, really bringing that CFO expertise that I had kind of built up over the years to small businesses to help them kind of solve much different problems.
Which I think is so important, right? And, we were talking before the show about the way that we reconnected because I was like, remind me again. I'm like, how did we reconnect? I mean, I've known your wife pretty much since I was in elementary school.
Yep.
So, which is funny when we reconnected, but, how was it that we reconnected and what was it that kind of sparked that? Because I feel like it created this new dynamic and relationship to our friendship because watching you grow over the past year or so has been absolutely amazing to watch with all of the different businesses and all the different things that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so I think you and my wife obviously knew each other at a young age, so we ended up somehow connecting on Facebook friends. And from a distance, I had followed a lot of your posts with you doing a lot of work and helping other small business owners, and that was really exciting for me to see. And I always liked seeing that stuff, and I always gave you like the thumbs up or the hearts or whatever. And at the same time, I was doing a lot of the same things for my friends, kind of privately, but helping them through some of their problems and really supporting them a lot as a cheerleader at times, but also, with some problem solving. And so I think I reached out to you at one point and I was like, man, we're doing a lot of the same stuff here. We should probably find some way to join forces so that we could do this, kind of on a larger scale. Because that was really the limiting factor for me. I wanted to help sort of as many of these small businesses as I could. Um, so yeah,
And
that's kind of how we reconnected. I have a lot of respect, by the way, for what you've done for business owners, especially female business owners. I think that's huge. You've done a lot.
well, thank you. And that's what I love doing, right? And there's just that was the biggest thing that we had in common. And I don't talk about it all the time, but I get so excited. And I think this is where like our passion together, like the first time we had coffee and we were just like nerding out, like our passion to help others outweigh our passion to help ourselves. Because I think by helping others, it's how it like starts that fire for us, because we have this ability that not, and I mean this in no disrespect to any, other people, but we have this natural ability to grow businesses and understand them. And I feel like I'd be doing somebody a disservice if I didn't teach them how to do it better and give them the tools that I have in order to help their business grow. And I have found by, because sometimes I'll meet with people and they're like, how much are you charging me? I'm like, the first time we have a conversation, I'm not charging you a penny. If I can give you any type of advice off of our first meeting, and if you learn something from it and you want more, we can continue. But I feel like helping as many possible people as we can really helps businesses to grow and flourish. And it's that collaboration over competition. I talk about it every episode. How can we, build a bigger front, right? Because I feel sometimes that there's so much cattiness and so much competition, and it's like, well, what if we just help the other person, because there's enough for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And that was something that we definitely had in common. And like we said, I went to elementary school with your wife. We even, I think our first jobs were at the exact same place, which was really funny. We reconnected when we had kids. And then when you reached out, I'm like, oh, this is really funny. It's so awesome how the universe just brings people back into your life in different cycles. And it's so amazing. And then we reconnected and grew through networking as well. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit after as well, because I think that that was really cool. And with the different networking stuff that we're doing aside from stuff like this. And so, um, knowing that we've connected via networking, and you started working on the CFO stuff, I find I mean I know what a CFO is, and working with lots of organizations, myself included, and there are a lot of people who may not know the role of a CFO. And we have CFOs of companies, but then your company is different. It's not just a one and done CFO. So if you can tell us what a CFO is, and then what a fractional CFO is, and how it can help small businesses, I think that that would be really amazing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I think what we get a lot of when we have people that build small businesses is we have somebody who has an expertise in some sort of operations, right? You could be talking about a landscaper, a plumber, some sort of operations, and they built their business with that expertise, pairing it with great customer service skills, pairing it with an ability to not give up and to work hard and put in probably 70, 80 hours a week sometimes. But what they don't necessarily have is that financial background or financial statement analysis background, right? So um, that that financial back office really has three components to it. It should anyway. It should have the CPA who's going to help you with tax strategy and tax planning, and then you have the bookkeeper who's basically the historian for your business, right? The financial historian. Everything you've ever spent money on, they're gonna put it in a bucket for you so that you can look at how those buckets are growing or shrinking and track everything that way. And then there's somebody that sits right in the middle. There's somebody that takes that historical information and projects it forward and builds you out analysis, and whether that's through budgeting or cash flow, future cash flow reports, benchmarking services that allow you to see kind of how you compare to your peers in your region, and uses all of this data to help you and partner with you to really set strategy moving forward. Now, obviously, big corporations have had these things for a long time, right? They're very expensive, $150,000 to $450,000 a year usually for these guys. And so small businesses really, there's no opportunity for them to have this sort of expertise in house until recently, right? Now with fractionalized CFOs, you can get that. What they've essentially done is they've said, all right, I can build a platform, and I can help, instead of helping one massive company for 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, I can help 12 smaller companies for 4 hours a week. And you're getting that same skill set, but now you can cut that salary cost in a fourth, in a 12th, I mean. Um, and on top of that, you don't have to pay your payroll taxes, right? They're a 1099. So you don't have to pay the 10 payroll taxes. You don't have to pay workman's comp, none of that. You really just have to focus on the value you're getting for them. And it's an extra contractor. So you're bringing in some of that high powered skill set at a very good, valuable price. generally.
That's really interesting. And you said a number that my brain was like, I'm sorry, what? Because you said 150 to four. Did you say $450,000 a year?
Some of them, yeah, very, yeah. When you see the CFOs at the larger corporations, it's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So what am I doing wrong? No, just kidding. As soon as you said that, I'm like, wait a minute, what? Um, but I definitely understand that, and I know that that exists. And when you look at those numbers and you look at a small business, and small businesses can't afford the $150,000, never mind someone who is that much more. And so having the CFO option, I think, is really great because it will really help businesses to scale
Yeah.
a little bit faster and a little bit more knowledgeable. So and I love how you broke down all of the different, like, legs of each of it too, because sometimes people discount how important a bookkeeper is, myself included, when I started a small business. And, it took forever to kind of untangle out of that because I was like, I can do QuickBooks on my own. I was an analyst. I did this for a long time.
Yeah.
I can totally do it. But, as a small business owner, you have to wear all of those different hats. And as your business grows, you have to give the hat to somebody else. And when you don't do that soon enough in your business, it can be really tough, right? And so I definitely think that they're super important, and I really appreciate that. And so when we have these services that you're able to give at a smaller rate, it really is going to give them a better bang for their buck. It's going to help their businesses, which I think is really awesome. And I mean, there's so many more things to go into. I mean, we're already at the end of our first segment, and we got to talk about all of the things, everything that your company does, everything that a CFO does. I think is really awesome that you were able to kind of go through that. And after the break, we're going to come back and we're going to start diving in a little bit deeper. So I am Jen, and I am the host of Networking Now, and I am going to be right back.